Hello!
Hey!
Welcome.
What are we talking about today?
Today we'll be demonstrating and explaining two methods of how to clean your records. There is a more expensive method, which is the one we'll be demonstrating, and then an alternative if you don't really feel like spending that much money to clean your records. We'll have a couple of products to show you. That's also probably easier than the more expensive method.
Quicker.
Yes, quicker, more efficient, but they
Okay.
probably produce the same effect, would you say?
To be honest with you, no. I think the other way is much
The more expensive one?
more effective.
Okay.
Yes, but it's like either way you get it gets it cleaner.
Yeah.
It's just that the one way that I'll be showing is very effective.
Okay, so let's begin. Okay.
Can't you splice it?
That was my trick of
Oh,
thought.
good.
Okay, so the cheaper method that I will be showing is more of a 2 to 3 step process. And you start off with one of these little brushes. This is from Audio Technica, and it is the anti-static record brush. Just one of these little guys, and you say you start off by just dusting the record off while it's spinning.
While it's spinning, and you just pull from the inside out. And
Not
sometimes I
stop.
just do that.
Yeah,
Like if you-
just don't need to clean it necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you go in with the vinyl style record cleaning fluid. This is just rubbing alcohol, so you don't necessarily need to buy this. Just buy.
I think it's got a little extra stuff.
It just says isopropyl alcohol.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So you could just buy some of this from the drugstore, and while the record is still, or is it moving or still?
Well, I put it on while it's still. It doesn't make that much
Doesn't
difference.
really matter. You just put a couple drops onto the record. Don't worry, it won't harm the record at all. And then they also have this little foam velvet cushion thing that you just wipe the alcohol off with, and it collects all the dust and skin cells. And then it also comes with this teeny tiny toothbrush that you can use to brush
Brush your teeth while
your
you're cleaning the
teeth.
record?
Or for your American Girl dolls,
Or the
or
needle.
the needle of the record
Or,
player.
if it's expensive, we call it a stylus.
Or
Now, I have an important point,
okay,
and I've learned this the hard way.
okay,
When you use this method with the liquid and the brush, of course, when you're done, once you've poured the liquid on, the record's spinning, you use the brush to slide everything off, the record is still wet
okay.
when you're done. Do not then immediately play your record, which I know seems like a duh, like of course you would, but I did.
Dumbass.
And
Nice going.
the first time you do it, it sounds fine because the needle will play on a slightly wet record. But what happens is this thing doesn't get it but so clean. And so there's still gunk and stuff down in the groove. And then that needle is now pulling up gunk and it's wet. And eventually I got to the point where I had a disgusting, like, gunk, wet booger on my needle.
Okay,
And the way I figured that out was it didn't sound right. Like I was playing a clean record, it sounded muffled. And I looked at it with a magnifying glass and I could see it. And I took my finger and eventually pulled it, and I could pull it off in one piece. It was gross. But now, as long as you don't play dry records, that never happens.
Okay.
So don't make that mistake.
in kindergarten, some girl picked her nose at the lunch table,
Mm-hmm.
and a giant booger came out, and I lost my appetite.
For all of kindergarten,
Yeah, just for the rest of the year.
that is a great story.
So would you recommend just letting it air dry, or
Yes.
would you take like a little cloth or something?
If you had like one of those, what do they call those special cloths?
Like a microfiber
Microfiber cloth, you could do that, but
Okay.
I just recommend letting them dry.
Air dry.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Thing.
How would you rate this method on a scale of 1 to 10?
On a scale of
Effectiveness.
1 for effectiveness, I would rate it about a 3.5.
3.5.
Forgot my towel.
What's new with everyone? Phew.
That was a
I'm
good one.
running out of things to say. Thank you for waiting through that brief intermission. Kev is now back. Actually, we don't ever leave these chairs. when we
Right.
cut the video, we just stay here until we record our next video.
And how do you like our microwave, everyone?
Oh, good news. We're getting a new backdrop. The
Don't-
money is What were you gonna say? You scared me. We are doing some construction, and by construction, I mean Amazon shelving. For you and your
It's going to be amazing.
measure from
And you guys will be able to say that you were the first
Yes.
1,000 subscribers.
first 18, you mean?
You were here at the beginning.
Yep. Wouldn't it be nice?
We'll look back at these videos and go, ooh, this was a little rough.
Like our first video.
All right, so on to the next method.
Okay.
Ready?
So wait, show them the box.
Okay,
The next
so
method,
is the
Spin
Spin Clean.
This is not
Ex-
sponsored by Spin
It
Clean.
is not sponsored by Spin Clean. I bought it. I use it. It's fantastic. It's expensive plastic, but it works.
Where did you buy it?
I bought it off of this company. It's on the internet. They're called Amazon.
Oh, okay. And how much was it?
I don't remember, but I think it was like $50. So what you get is you're paying for the kind of the idea, I think. So you get this plastic tub, which has a top, which doesn't really serve a lot of purpose. As you can see, the tub has some
A basin?
a basin and some grooves. And depending on what size records you're cleaning, today we're going to be cleaning a 33 1/3.
So it has these little wheel things.
Yep, and we set it on the outside slot there, and that makes it so that a 33 1/3 record will
So
fit.
they spin in the basin?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then these are little inserts that have
This is the same material.
similar
as
material to the
this.
brush, exactly.
See, this is why we have to move to our new
Right,
studio.
you need a producer. In direct contact, I mean, they are tight
That's what
up
she
against
said.
each other. All right, now I need water.
Okay, I took a sip off of this one
Perfect.
while you were upstairs.
Now you're supposed to use distilled water. We use
Bottled.
Kirkland water. All right, so what I'm doing is there's a line on the inside of this that's about 1 inch from the top, and I'm filling the water up to the line. It comes with this fluid, which may be similar to this, who knows?
Who knows?
But you just put a capful into the basin, and I'm pouring it right on top of the two
Brushes.
the two insert brushes. And that was per the directions.
So he has a really dirty record.
this is a record that from my personal collection from the 80s that my wife just found,
It's really old.
and it hasn't been cleaned ever. I can tell you this was my record when I was a teenager. I'm thrilled that I discovered it, and it is, it's in good shape. It's just in the condition you would expect a record to be that's been sitting in an attic, and I can't believe it's not warped.
Did you ever clean your records in the 80s?
No,
Just what would you do if they were dusty? Just
I would
blow
take a
it off?
shirt and wipe them off.
It's very technical.
So we're pushing the record in down as far as it'll go, and now it's hanging on those rollers. And then I simply, you got it? I turn, from my perspective, I'm turning it clockwise, and I'm supposed to turn it 3 rotations. So
How do you know if you've made it 3 rotations? What if
Because
you
you can-
lose track?
then you're screwed.
This is so professional.
All right, so we've done it to the right. I'll set it down so it won't. And then now I do it to the left 3 rotations.
And don't be fooled. I was very concerned when he first bought this because, I don't know, I just assumed that records can't get wet.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's sort of dumb to think about, but
And the cool thing is the label doesn't get wet.
yeah, it doesn't reach the brushes. But the record gets completely submerged,
Yep.
and I guess if you just dry it off on time, then it's fine.
Yeah, you do have to work relatively quickly because you don't want the water from the top to then drain down on the label. But even if it does, I'll wipe it off fairly quickly. So now we pull it out.
Wet record.
We let the excess water drip back into the tub, and then they give you these 2 microfiber towels, and they say you wipe clockwise. And I think that has to do with the way the grooves are on the record. And now you can see,
Man, that thing
It is-
shiny.
and the way I hold it, my finger is always, because I've got to have there for support, so then I always try to make sure I wipe off that one fingerprint. It doesn't have to be perfect, but one thing's for sure, it is significantly cleaner.
You can see our reflection.
Yeah, it really, and it makes a huge difference I buy a lot of records on eBay, and when I get them, sometimes they look completely trashed. And by the time you've done this, they look like brand new records. For those that are familiar with ratings, it seems to me, based on my experience with this spin clean, that it always brings it up one level. So if the record is like a VG minus or a VG, by the time you're done, it'll be a VG plus or an excellent. It doesn't take scratches out, but it takes anything that's not a scratch.
Hair, skin,
Yes.
blood, sweat.
So,
How would you rate this out of 10? 10?
I would rate this out of 10. I would rate this knowing that there's machines you can buy for thousands of dollars, that I guess those would have to be a 10. I would say this is a solid 8. I really would. So then the last thing you do is you let it dry. I've dried this thing off pretty well. The towel, because once you start to wash 10 records and the towel starts to get pretty wet, and then I'll just set these things up and lean them carefully up against something for 5 or 10 minutes. When they're totally dry, you put them back in and you are good to go. And this thing has, I believe, definitely served its purpose.
Didn't they say that this can clean up to a certain amount of records? Did you tell me that?
Yes, one tub, I believe, cleans up to 30 or 40 records.
Like the solution that you can reuse it 30 to 40 times?
That in other words, when you pour the water in here and put the cap full of solution in, you can wash about 30 or 40 records before you need to now change the solution.
Got it.
And I've probably done, 4 or 5 cleaning sessions, and you can see how much I have left. So it goes a long way. And then you can, of course, buy more bottles from this company. I think it's like $8 for this solution. So, and it's really easy to clean up. It's kind of gross, but and it's not gross now because we just cleaned one record, but when you look, after about 10 records, it starts to really build up in there. But it doesn't go on to the next record that you're cleaning. It keeps it out of the way.
In our next video, I'll dare Kev the Vinyl. Wait, we've been saying Kev the Record Guy. This is Kev the Vinyl Guy.
Oh, that's my alter ego.
In the next video, I will dare Kev the Vinyl Guy to drink the dirty record fluid. Okay, thank you everyone for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed.
Yes, thank you for your comments.
Yes, shout out to the 2 people that commented on our last video.
Who, if you comment again, we'll say your name on our next video.
Thank you for paying the bills and for paying for this record cleaner.
Yes, and watch for new things to come. I mean, if you thought this video had a lot of pizzazz, fireworks, and excitement, you just wait.
Yes, and let us know what kind of videos you would like to see next. Record hauls. Other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send money.
Goodbye, everyone.
Peace.